Achieving your goals in 2023 is not about pushing yourself harder than you ever have before. And it's not about showing up as this amazing new version of yourself. It's not about getting every single thing done on that massive to-do list that you've been carrying around. And it's not about being perfect. In fact, achieving success in the new year might not even be about whether you hit your goals. And in fact, whether you hit your goals is not always going to be the thing that brings you joy. So let me explain. I set a goal for myself this year that I wanted to hit 60,000 subscribers here on YouTube. And as it stands right now, I'm a little over 1,000 subscribers away from that goal. And at the rate I'm currently getting subscribers, it doesn't look like I'm necessarily going to hit that goal by December 31st. So if I fall short, does that mean that I was not a success? Of course not. But you might say, well, Sarah, you came close enough. If you're 50 away, then that's close enough, right? Okay. So what if I had set a goal of 75,000 YouTube subscribers and I fell 16,000 subscribers short of that goal? Does that make me a failure? Does it mean I didn't achieve what I set out to achieve? Not really. And here's why. The goal itself is really nothing more than a location that you put into your mental GPS. I say I want to hit 75,000 subscribers on YouTube because that is the direction I want to go. But the actual number of 75,000 is not in my control. I can't control how many people hit subscribe. And all I can control is the way that I show up, how many videos I post, and what types of videos I post. Now, there might have been an opportunity this year for me to post twice as many videos and increase my subscribers. There also might have been an opportunity this year to change up the type of videos that I do to try to go more viral. And instead of thinking about my loyal subscribers, maybe I could have copied other viral videos and just been trying crazy antics in order to get more subscribers. And maybe I would have hit that goal. But if I had done those two things, maybe I would also be sitting here in December of the end of the year with 75,000 subscribers, but maybe I would be burned out. Maybe I would be disappointed in the type of content. Maybe I would have alienated my true fan base that I have. There could be negative consequences to hitting that exact number if I didn't go about it in a way that aligns with who I am and how I want to show up. And I think that when we start talking about goal setting, so often we ignore the personal side of it. It's like we see this vision board cutout of the person that we think we need to be. We compare ourselves to other people. We see the results that other people are getting, and we think that achieving that result for ourselves is going to make us happy. And sometimes if we're not intentional about how we go about hitting that goal, we can sometimes burn ourselves out, do actions or take action that doesn't really align with who we are. And we can end up in a place that we did not intend. When we talk about goal setting, so often we're just talking about that destination. And the reason we set that target for ourselves, that 60,000 subscribers, or I want to make $50,000 this year, or I want to be able to quit my job, whatever that goal is that we set for ourselves, the reason we set it is because we think that when we get from where we are now to where we're trying to go, that our lives will be better in some way, that we'll be happier, that we'll be wealthier, that our lives will be easier, that we'll be in a better place, right? That's the reason we set goals, is to try to continue to grow and to make our lives better. But what we don't talk about and what we so often miss when it comes to our own goal setting and to discussions about goal setting at large is that true happiness doesn't necessarily come from hitting the target. Because if we say, I'm going to make $100,000 this year, that's our goal, and then we do it at any cost, whatever it takes, at the cost of our mental health, at the cost of our integrity, at the cost of our time with our family, and we make sacrifices that we didn't necessarily intend to make, is it really a success when we end the year at $100,000 income? are we really happier for hitting that goal? Not necessarily, right? I can tell you a personal story about this. In the year 2013, I had been publishing for several years. I'm an author, self-published author. If you're new here, hi, welcome. And I was finding good success for myself, and I was making six figures a year. But we were living in this tiny little apartment. We had a one-year-old son. My husband, one of our goals was for him to quit his corporate job that he hated. And one of my other goals was I just want to live in a big, beautiful house. And that was such a goal for me. And I pushed myself beyond the point of good mental health. I was ignoring my anxiety. I was ignoring, at the time, I had a lot of memories and things that were coming back from a trauma that I had experienced in my 20s. And I was pushing it so far down because I was like, no, I'm going to hit this goal no matter what. We're going to move into this house. And we had to sell like so many things. We had to cash in a 401k to afford this house. And we made a lot of sacrifices to be able to have my husband quit his job and to move into this big, beautiful house. Not this one, but one that we lived in back then in South Carolina. And when I pushed myself, ignored my mental health, ignored my physical health, I was not being good to my body. I was not being good to my mind. I was dealing with author drama and relationship drama I never should have put up with in the hopes of having greater success with the collaboration. There were all kinds of ways that I was compromising myself and my health to make that money and get into that house. Because that was my goal, like blinders on, I want that house. And I thought that achieving that, having that house, living in that house would make me happy. It would make me a different kind of person. But as you can imagine, we move into this beautiful house and my depression only got worse and worse and worse to the point where I couldn't write anymore. I didn't want to get out of bed. And all those things that I was pushing to the side to try to hit that goal were just coming rushing back, because when those things come up, if you don't deal with them, they're eventually going to boil over, right? We all know this about mental health issues and trauma. It just happens. You have to deal with it, right? In some way. And I was also compounded, like my feelings of depression were compounded by the fact that I did not understand how in the world I could have worked this hard to hit this goal and to be this place in my life, and it wasn't making me happy. I was pissed about it. I was so confused and angry and depressed about the fact that I sacrificed so much for this goal, and it wasn't giving me the joy that I sacrificed everything to get. And this was a major turning point in my life. And it took me a few years to really come around to it and start making the changes that I needed to make. But I understood during that time in my life that it's not the destination, achieve the goal at all costs, that is going to bring you joy. It truly is putting yourself in the direction, like pointing yourself in the direction of what you want to achieve, and then taking steps toward it that align with who you are, that take care of yourself and your mental health along the way, and that bring you step by step toward joy without making unintentional sacrifices that you're going to regret later. So that's my personal story, but this is just one example of a person setting a goal that you think is going to make you happy. And it's possible that some of you watching this video right now have your own examples of times when you set a goal and you sacrificed a lot to get there. And then when you arrived at that moment, it didn't just magically make you happy the way that you thought it would. The truth is, a goal is just a moment in time, right? I'm going to hit 60,000 subscribers, which thank you very much for that. And if you're brand new here, hit that subscribe button, because I would love to hit it sooner rather than later. But when I hit it, there's going to be a moment of celebration, but then there's going to be a new goal, because that's just the way we work as human beings. We hit a milestone, and then there's the next thing and the next thing, right? Someday, maybe I'm going to be sitting here aiming for that 100,000 subscribers. But that destination, reaching it, is going to be a moment in time that will fulfill me for a brief period of time and will always be something I can be proud of. But it's not going to just suddenly like erase all of everything I've been through or erase all of my flaws. It's not going to fulfill me and feed me for the rest of my life. It's just going to be a moment in time. And so really, when we talk about goal setting, we're talking about, I'm going to set a goal to put myself on a path. And then I'm going to make each individual decision that I make to head in that direction. But really, the journey along the way is about whether we follow through with actions and we begin to become the person that we want to become. Having a beautiful home or a car or having 100,000 subscribers is not going to fulfill you. What is going to fulfill you is taking action every day that aligns with what your purpose in life is, or the person you want to be, or the kind of life that you want to live, like your true lifestyle. Like hitting 100,000 subscribers will be awesome someday if I can achieve that, but that is not going to like be the be all end all of my life. What will is my day-to-day actions, how I'm living my life, what my lifestyle is. That's more important. And so every goal I set is leading me toward the life I want to live, not just the thing I want to have or the thing I want to accomplish. So how do we set goals and how do we actually achieve them? I mean, I don't have all the answers. And I know that not everyone is the same when it comes to goal setting. But for those of you that this is resonating with, let me tell you that as someone who has been on a very long journey from a brutal assault to depression that I almost did not survive in my 20s, to losing everything I owned in 2 separate house fires and fighting my way out of a very abusive marriage, to this life that I'm living now. From that life in my 20s, I have had to fight and I've had to learn and I have had to grow and heal so much to be sitting here right now. And so even though I don't have all the answers, I do know a thing or two about joy and success and goal setting. And so I'm going to give you my 3 biggest, please take this to heart if you can, tips as you begin setting your goals for the new year. Number 1 is set goals from where you are right now, not where you think you should be. So often when we start to think about our goals and what we want to accomplish over the next year or 5 years or whatever of our lives, we sort of step outside of our body, step outside of our lives, and we become this 2D character. I talked about this recently at the Romance Author Mastermind Conference, and I think it really resonated with a lot of people. So I wanted to share this here, that we sort of, when we set down to figure out our goals, we step outside of our like real lives and we become this 2D sort of paper cutout, this sort of vision board Pinterest person, right? We become someone else and we plan for the next year as if we're going to show up differently, as if we have more time than we do, as if we have better habits than what we have. It's like, this is the year that I'm going to wake up every morning and exercise and eat right and, get this YouTube channel going. And I'm going to, write 5 books and, all of these things. And it's exciting to think of the possibilities of who we might become. But when we set goals without the habits in place, when we don't think about our chronic illnesses, when we aren't thinking about where our mental health state is right now, and we're not like really stepping into it as our full 3D selves, and instead we're just this like perfect version of ourselves that we wish we could be, we are setting ourselves up for disappointment. And so that's why when we set those New Year's resolutions and then we show up on January 1st, we're confused and disappointed by the fact that we're not just happily getting up at 5 a.m. to do that exercise that we've never done before. And then it gets compounded by the fact that when we feel disappointed in ourselves, we start to build negative momentum and we start to beat ourselves up about like, what is wrong with me? I see all these other people doing all these things. Why can't I do it? But the reason that you can't do it, so if you're sitting here and you've set goals before and then a month into the year, you're like, this is impossible. It's not that there's something wrong with you. And that's what we tend to think, is we think I'm flawed. There's something wrong with me. I can't do this. And this, I'm speaking from experience because this is where I was back in 2013 to 2015, is it was all my fault. I'm fundamentally flawed and I'm just never going to deserve the life I want. But that was not true. And if you've been thinking that, I guarantee you that is not true about you either. What's happened is we believe that we should show up as this better version of ourselves. And some part of us knows that we are capable of it, but we skip the whole part where we like create the habits and become that person. We expect we're just going to like show up as that person on day one. But that it doesn't work like that for anybody. Instead, what we need to do is we need to set goals that allow us to create the habits. You cannot plan for habits that you don't have. So you need to plan to create the habits. So if I want to start waking up at 5 a.m. to do my journaling and start exercising and all of that, if that really is the life I want to live because I want to live it, which we'll get into in just a moment, I can't go from waking up at 6:45 to 5 a.m. and expect that to be sustainable, right? I'm going to have to create a plan for creating that habit. I'm going to have to work myself down to it. So maybe I start with 6:30 a.m. and I just get on the treadmill for 10 minutes. Or I don't even worry about the exercise. I just say 6:30 is my new wake up time and I'm going to crawl out of bed and I'm going to get it done. And once I've done that for 2 or 3 weeks, then I can say, okay, let's try 6:15 for the next month. And it might take me an entire year to get down to the 5 a.m. wake up because it's going to involve going to bed earlier. It's going to involve lifestyle change, but it was incremental. And then I can be really proud of myself when I hit that moment. But I can't expect myself to just wake up tomorrow with that habit. Same thing of if you're a writer or an entrepreneur and you are super busy and you think like, you know, you've got a full-time job, you've got a 3-year-old at home, but you know that you're capable and you really want to make an extra amount of money so you can quit your job. Setting a goal to start spending all of Saturday and Sunday working on your books or your art or whatever your entrepreneurial venture is not necessarily realistic if you're not already doing that, right? And you might find that if you plan to completely give up your weekends, that you don't actually have the energy to follow through with that. That doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It means that that plan is not realistic for your true life. You aren't making a plan that meets you where you are. So if I have this one like major tip, and this is something that we do in my HB90 program. So it is open and we start on Sunday. So if you're watching this when it first comes out, come join us. If you're not watching this when it first comes out and you're interested in this HB90 system of planning that takes your reality and, you know, is like a whole holistic type of goal setting, we do it every quarter. So come join us. I will have the links for you down below. But when you meet yourself as you are and you plan for the person you are today, you start taking into consideration a real look at your time, a realistic look at how long it actually takes you to do stuff. And it can be a very sobering thought because we want to be able to like quantum leap into this better version of ourselves, but that's just not the reality. And so continuing to expect ourselves every year to just quantum leap into this 2D perfect Pinterest version is really just why we keep banging our head against a wall, right? It's time in 2023, this new year, for a goal-setting revolution where we say, I am going to show up exactly as I am, and I am going to take the time that I actually have. I'm going to build in buffers for my headaches, for my mental health. I'm going to take care of myself, and I'm going to achieve my goals however long it takes while also taking care of myself. I'm going to be in the process of becoming the person I want rather than expecting myself to just magically become that person. Like there is no fairy godmother that's going to just like, you know, tap us on the head and suddenly we have all these habits that we wish we had. It's going to take time. And sadly, something that I have learned along the way as well is that goal setting is a personal development journey. Like you can't goal set and hit all of your goals and become the person you want to be without also, you know, transforming your inner landscape, without healing some of those past traumas. It's going to come up. And so if we don't plan for some of that emotional work along the way, it's going to be a roadblock on that path. And so really taking a realistic look at where you are now and where you can go and building positive momentum instead of massively impossible expectations on ourselves is actually going to bring you more joy and success in 2023 than setting these impossible goals and expecting yourself to transform overnight. It's just not going to happen. So tip number 2 is to break your goals down into smaller increments. So I've seen a lot of videos coming out lately about planning your goals for 2023, right? And they're talking about where they want to be by December, which is good to have a little bit of that milestone, like, okay, this is the direction I'm heading in. But to create a detailed plan of what you're going to do every month by month by month, I think is often a mistake. Not for everybody, but I think it is often a mistake, because what happens is we get a couple months in and we're already so far behind that pie in the sky goal we set feels impossible. And then we have this hopelessness and this weight that comes on our shoulders. So for me, I love to plan in 90-day increments. All I'm going to do is when I start planning for 2023 is I'm going to set up like a little sketch of, you know what, here's how many YouTube subscribers I want to have by the end of the year. Here's kind of the general amount of money I want to make next year. And I'm going to have those basic, just sort of like ideas of milestones I want to hit. But when it comes to my detailed plan, it's going to just be January, February, March. And I am going to plan that in terms of the goals I want to achieve, the 3 goals I want to achieve. And I'm going to break those down into the projects that I can realistically take on. And that includes the habits that I want to cultivate in my life, right? That I have to make time for those habits. They're not going to just magically appear. So I'm going to create a plan that takes not only, my headaches or my, like I've had some stomach aches or anxiety. It's going to take all that into consideration. I'm going to build in buffer time, and then I'm going to look at my time realistically, and I'm going to create a detailed plan. And then once that 90 days is over, I'm going to see how far I got. And then I get a chance to sort of reflect and review what worked and what didn't. And then I set another set of goals for the next 3 months. And planning in this way is life changing, because no more am I going to end up in March feeling like I'm so far behind. There's no way this year is going to turn out the way I wanted. It's all about just incremental shifts and readjustment that you make along the way. And that also means that you get 4 fresh starts in a year instead of just 1. And I love that. And then tip number 3, as you set your goals for 2023, is to really pay attention to how you feel. We don't talk about feelings enough when it comes to goal setting. We talk about the achievements. We talk about the money. We talk about the weight loss, all those things. But really, it's our feelings that matter the most, because we're setting these goals based on how we want to feel. We think it's going to make us feel more joyful or more excited or more beautiful or more confident, whatever it is. That's really the outcome, is the feeling that we're trying to achieve. We're trying to achieve more freedom. We're trying to achieve more peace. We're trying to achieve more travel and joy. And so as you set your goals, instead of just thinking about those momentary milestones, I encourage you to think about how you want to feel, because there are subtle ways that you can begin bringing in the ways you want to feel into your life and your situation right now. No matter where you live, no matter what is going on in your life, there are subtle shifts that you can make, especially when you start thinking about your physical health and your mental health. Like, gone are the days where we're serving ourselves by setting some goal and we say, at all costs, this is what I'm going to achieve. Because you know what? There are sometimes very high prices to pay for that milestone. And we may not intentionally be wanting to pay that price. Do you really want to pay the price of your mental health to hit that $100,000 a year? Maybe you do. I will never do that again. I don't want to sacrifice my mental health and my peace to try to hit some kind of number of followers, right? And I have no judgment for you if you do want to go that path. If you just say, at all costs, this is what I want to achieve, I will cheer you on. But for most of us, I feel like now is the time not to be saying, I want that no matter what I have to sacrifice. Instead, think about saying, I want that, and I'm going to find a way to get there while taking care of myself along the way. I'm going to get there and be happy. I'm going to get there and be healthy. I'm going to be feeling so good when I get there. I am on the verge. Like 2023 is feeling really good to me, and I hope it's feeling good for you too. But I am on the verge after more than a decade of this writing career of hitting some goals that I have set, like dreams, pie in the sky dreams. And I can tell you that if they come true, whether they're true in 2023 or 2025 or 2030, I am going to be so much happier when I get there than I would have been if I had gotten there 7 years ago, because I'm taking my mental health seriously. I'm taking my physical health seriously. And sometimes that means I'm behind on things. Sometimes it means things don't get done as fast or less videos go up. And you know what? It's okay. I think that as we begin to set goals, the more we can take our physical and mental health into consideration, the more we can think about our joy. And also, another piece of this third tip is ask yourself if this is really what you want. Because so often we see what other people have and we just start going down those motions. We let someone else put that location in the GPS without even really thinking, is that the life I want to live? Not just like, think of it not just as the milestone, the moment in time, but think of the lifestyle. Is that how busy you want to be? Do you want to be managing multiple assistants? Do you want to be like answering to a bunch of people? Like, what lifestyle do you really want? And then make sure that your goals align with that lifestyle, because it can be really flashy to say you have 100,000 subscribers on YouTube or 1 million subscribers on YouTube, which is not even something I aspire to, but it can be flashy. It can look like that's a good life, but like those people that have 1 million subscribers, they have staff, they have brands, they have all these like other people making demands on their time, and it's a lot of pressure and they work really hard to get there. It's like, maybe that's not the lifestyle that you want. So, and that's okay, whether it's your lifestyle or not. It's you, and you're allowed to dream whatever dreams align with your heart. So think about these things as you begin setting your goals for 2023. If you want to join us in the HB90 Bootcamp, this is already the largest class we've ever had. And I think that speaks to the fact that there are so many people that are looking to set their goals differently, that are looking to bring more joy and ease and peace into their lives. So if this is you, come join us. We start on Sunday, December 11th. Registration will close at noon Eastern, and I'm not going to be letting anybody in late. So definitely pay attention to that clock. If you know you want to join, you might as well go ahead and join today, and I'll see you on Sunday. This weekend, I have for you my 2023 planner lineup, which is going to be a little different than what I have ever done. I'm simplifying. I'm still going to be using multiple planners, but I am simplifying, and I've got a lot of other great content coming up for you. So if you are not subscribed, help me hit that 60K goal and hit that subscribe button right now. Hit the like button and comment down below and let me know what part of this video resonated the most with you. I super love you guys. Thank you for letting me share my own experiences with you this year. Thank you for being a part of my Hearties community. I love this YouTube channel. It is one of the greatest gifts and privileges of my life. So thank you for letting me be here. And let's set some awesome goals for 2023. Let's cheer each other on and let's find our joy. All right. All my love to you. See you next time. Bye.